I wanted to start off this update by asking you guys the question, do you think that Ripple has a chance of having the biggest IPO in history? Now, I wanted to start and preface this Ripple IPO update by asking that question, comparing some of these other companies and taking a look at Ripple, the position that they're in. They just conducted a huge tender offer buyback of their own shares. And we're going to break this down. And I wanted to let everyone know that Ripple shares are available once again at Link2. Now, I have a link down below for Link2. And if you're a new client of Link2, you can save $500 towards your first investment when you use my link below. So that's the only reason I got that link there, is so that you guys can take advantage of that special offer from Link2. Only for new clients, though, of the platform. And a huge shout out to Link2 for getting, regular folks access to these private equity offerings. Absolutely love to see it. Now, the company Ripple has obviously intrigued us in the XRP community, and I think that they could very well be one of the biggest IPOs in history. What I'm talking about is when you compare this list and you look at Ripple, you look at their balance sheet with the amount of XRP that they're sitting on, and just the amount of kind of hype behind the company Ripple as well too. We're going to see where this thing IPOs at, but you got the list of the biggest IPOs of all time with Saudi Aramco, which is the large oil company, energy company out of Saudi Arabia, with the largest at 25.6 billion, by far the biggest IPO. Alibaba, which we know the SEC chair Jay Clayton helped bring that one in, and he was very proud of that deal. Alibaba with $21.7 billion raise, and that's a prime example of why companies want to go public here in the US. We still do have the gold standard of capital markets. We're kind of losing that, but hey, if you're doing deals with Jay Clayton and the gang, they allow yours to go through. So 21.7 billion for Alibaba. SoftBank did 21.3. You see a similar company, maybe comparable, would be a Visa at a 17.86 billion, right? Payment processor. And then Facebook, Meta, 16.45 billion. And Facebook obviously been pumping today. We all saw that. I dropped that in the update this morning, talking about how Meta's pumping, but what everybody's overlooking, what the markets don't care to even look at or understand, is that Meta, although it's pumping and up 20% today, they just cut off and laid off about 20,000 employees, about 22% of their staff. So there's two sides to the coin there. We want to be able to look at both. And, I like to check my bias too when I'm looking at Ripple and XRP, because obviously it's easy to be in the XRP community echo chamber. We got to take a step back, look at history. And for me, every time I do this and I just say, hey, calm yourself down, check what you're talking about here. And I go back and I look, and we just find an incredible company, all-star team of crypto. There's no company in the space that even comes close as far as the team members and absolute killers that they've added to their rosters. Just straight big hitters all the way from the top down, the board of directors all the way down, and some of the investors as well. Now, we look, these IPOs of 25 billion, 21 billion, I mean, Ripple's sitting on that much XRP, assuming that escrow hasn't been pre-allocated in a major way, right? Assuming that Ripple has title to all of that XRP in escrow and that they're going to keep it all, that XRP alone is worth 20-something billion. Even if you want to discount it somewhat because of the escrow feature and because it's locked up and Ripple doesn't have access to it, which is why they don't include it on their balance sheet. It's the proper way to do it through GAAP accounting, generally accepted accounting practices. That's the proper way to report it, is that it's not on their balance sheet, because it's not. They don't have access to it. But for all intents and purposes, right, they're the only ones with the title to that escrow. So you have to consider it into their valuation, in my opinion. Now, this is where it gets interesting. You compare a company like Ripple to these other companies. I mean, these other companies didn't have a token, right? I mean, Saudi Aramco, obviously, they bought a lot of assets. They definitely, produce a lot of oil, big in the energy sector, right? But this is a unique position with Ripple sitting on this war chest of XRP, and then their underlying business has just been flourishing, right? Obviously, the sales of XRP have helped to fund their business in a big way, but that's what they're doing, is distributing XRP to other institutions that are going to be using it for its utility. So I'm looking at this Ripple company. This is not an ordinary company. Very, very simple. And XRP is a special little digital asset. I think it could be a world reserve currency. I think that I believe that the broader financial markets and the crypto markets are definitely underestimating Ripple and XRP. But let's take a look at what Ripple values their own company at, right? So the most recent raise that they did back in 2022 was at a $15 billion valuation. Market's gotten a little bit tight ever since then, and Ripple just went back to their former employees and other shareholders, and they just offered a tender offering of a share buyback valued at $285 million, valuing the company at $11 billion. So, a little bit less than that $15 billion raise that they did back in 2022, but shelling out $285 million to buy back shares. Okay. And this is from early investors and employees. And what I like about this deal, this investment, also known as a tender offer, valued the company at $11.3 billion. Investors are only allowed to sell up to 6% of their stake. So it's not where early investors get to dump all their shares, only 6% of their stake. But they were able to, it looks like acquire another $285 million. And I thought that I heard Brad say that they've bought back about $1 billion worth of shares in the most recent years. So I correct me if I'm wrong on that. Let me know in the comments down below. I know they're sitting on $1 billion cash. They're sitting on $1 billion cash. We all know that. But then I thought that I heard him say that they've done this buyback, but then they've also done about $1 billion total in the most recent years. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But anyways, I wanted to let everyone know because so many people want access to this. It's a way to hedge your investments, right? We have XRP, other digital assets, but private equity is one of the asset classes that I'm looking at delving into big time. As we move into private equity and we move into real estate, that's where I'm going to be shifting and reallocating my portfolio that is heavy crypto and cash. And we're looking at private equity deals. And right now I'm watching these companies get squeezed. A lot of companies, we just saw Polygon Labs announcing, I forget, 11, 20% staff layoff, massive layoffs at Polygon, massive layoffs at these other companies. Meanwhile, Ripple's still hiring, still producing cash, business partnerships still growing, and we're about to put the SEC behind us as well and put ourselves in a whole new light. As I've been saying, the spotlight's about to shine on Ripple. It's going to be the darling of Wall Street. After they're able to beat SEC, everybody on Wall Street's going to want a piece of that action. You beat the SEC and you have a legitimate business, plenty of value, cash flow strong, still hiring, still growing. What's not to love about this opportunity? And especially when you look at just how far they're getting with the adoption in the middle of an SEC lawsuit, just think of what they're going to do outside of that lawsuit. But I wanted to let everyone know, as I said, the link down below, if you're new to Link2, you can save $500 towards your first investment when you use my link below. So I just wanted to let everyone know that that is available. Right now, you can get shares at $40 per share. But if you invest over $10,000, you're going to drop that share price down to $38. Now, what's interesting about this is a $6.9 billion implied valuation at 38, and it's about a $7.3 billion valuation at $40 per share. So what did we just show you, right? Ripple just bought back $285 million at an $11 billion valuation, and right now Ripple's offering you shares at $7.3 billion valuation, or let's just round off at about $7 billion valuation is what the shares are being offered right now on Link2. So that's a discount from what Ripple just bought it back at. That's a discount from what Ripple's valuing the company at. And it's a discount from where they just raised back in 2022 at a $15 billion valuation. So they've done 4 raises over here. So 128 million back in 2015, 410 back in 2016. And then that big one in 2020, or actually, I guess that was right before the lawsuit, right, where they raised $10 billion valuation, and they did a big raise there before they did another $15 billion valuation raise in 2022. So, yeah, I mean, you can see right here, this is very, very much discounted from the previous raises that they did at 15 billion. I mean, 7 billion's less than half that. So you can get half what the most recent valuation was, and you can get less than what Ripple just bought it back for themselves, an $11 billion valuation. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just thinking, wow, Link2, I mean, They're not a sponsor of mine. I just have my affiliate link down below so that you guys can take advantage of the offer that they have for new investors. Save $500 towards your first investment. But I got to commend them. I got to give them my respect, because this is giving people access to private equity deals that I think have tremendous upside. And Ripple's not the only company. It's just obviously one of our favorites here in the XRP community. But they got Circle, which they're supposed to be going public probably in the next year. They got a bunch of other companies in AI, tech, all sorts of different fintech companies. And, for me, it's private equity, not just in the digital asset fintech space. That's what I was doing up in Vancouver as well, is I was talking to companies that had recently gone public. I'm talking to companies that haven't gone public yet. They're still private, where you can do private placements in like mining companies for one of our other favorite assets as well, right? So I'm looking at private equity opportunities across the board. This one's very interesting to me. And I just want to ask the question to the audience here today. Do you think that there's a chance that Ripple could have the biggest IPO ever? It would have to surpass 25.6 billion, which their XRP alone is worth more than that, right? So very interesting. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you appreciate the update, you guys know what to do. Really do appreciate all the love, and everything is at my website, zachrector.com. God bless you all.